Hey everybody, today we'll be going over modifying commits in Git, so let's get started. So as you can see here, I have this, currently I have this repo here, and I just added this commits.py file. So if I was to go ahead and run git status, you can see that this commits file is currently not being tracked. So let's say I want to add that, so I go ahead and add everything, which of course you shouldn't do if you don't know what you're doing. But in this case, we're just adding a single file, so that's okay. But say you're at this point and you don't want to have that file added to your commit. You can simply run a git reset on the head, because this is the current branch, the current branch we'll be working on. And then we git reset, and then you just add the file name. So that will remove that file from the from being tracked on that current commit. So this is no longer being tracked. So if you want to add this back in after, you'd have to go ahead and add that file again, commits.py, and from there that would be re-added. But in this case, you're just more worried about getting rid of that file from your commit if you've accidentally included it in a commit, or you're just about to commit and you realize, oh, this does not belong. So, okay, now we'll move on to the next thing. So say I'm at this point and I want to commit, and I go ahead and commit and say add file. So I'll just say that's my commit message right now, and git status, everything is fine. We didn't, of course, push that up, but you know, the commit has gone through, everything's good. But now say I want to change something related to that commit. So in this instance, say I wanted to change the message, maybe to get like more descriptive. So in that case, I would have to recommit. Oh, instead of just adding that -m for message, you have to do a --amend, which is just going to, of course, amend something new to the current commit, or the most recent commit, excuse me. So in that case, we're going to git commit, amend whatever we want to amend to the most recent commit. And what we're going to amend in this case is a message, which once again is going to be a little more descriptive. So I'll say add commits.py file. And from here, you should be fine. So now if you were to go ahead and run a Git log, you should see that our message has changed. So initially we had this initial commit message, or excuse me. Previously we had this message. We had a message here before saying that we added a file, but now our commit says that we've added a commits.py file. So that's a quick way to change a message. Now in this case, if we can also go ahead and amend a file if we wanted to. So if I was to go over here and create a new file, so if I was to call a new file.py, and that can stay blank, I guess. So if I was to go ahead and add this new file.py, and I was to git commit, now I want to amend to that commit. I don't want to create a new commit. I just want to add on to what we previously had. You can simply do that, and it'll bring up this fancy editor, which basically just allows you to edit your commit, but you shouldn't really have to do anything here. So as long as you type in Shift WQ for write quit and hit enter, those new files that you want to amend to that previous commit should be added. So in this case, new file should be added to that commit. which if we run git status, you can see there's nothing being tracked or nothing being untracked, which means that all of these files are in that single commit. Okay, so from here, as you could see above, I kind of already did this, but running a Git log will show you your history of commits. So in this case, there was initial commit created, titled initial commit. And then there was another commit, which we just recently did, called add commits.py file. So Git log will just show you those commits, just so you could kind of see what you're doing. And of course, this is kind of just related to the current branch, which in this case should be master because there's no other branch. Now, say we wanted to go ahead and create a new branch. So say I was going to check out to new branch. Okay, so say now that I've created this new branch, and I want to, this currently should just be a clone of what's in the other branch. Now, let's see that there. But this should be the same as the master currently. And say I decided to go back to master. Oh, not in here. Say I was here, master. And now say that I wanted to, once again, add a new file. Newer file. Now, once again, I've added this file, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to the commit. So I'm going to add this to a new commit, actually. So I'm going to add, I should stop using star, newer file.py, and I'm going to go ahead and commit that. One message. Newer file. So now I added that new file, and if I go ahead to the git status, you can see that everything's fine. It wants us to push because we have this new commit, or we have a few commits new. But so now, say I wanted to, I just realized that I made this commit in this branch and I didn't do it. I wanted to do it in the other branch, and of course that's kind of an issue because you have to get all these changes moved from this branch to the other branch, and then remove the changes that you made here. So to kind of do that, you would have to, we'll git log to see our commits. So in this case, we see that we have these hashes here next to commit, and these hashes kind of just relate to how they're kind of like unique identifiers for each commit, and these identifiers can kind of change based on what you do to your commit. So if you amend to a commit, that could possibly change your ID. But for now, just realize that these are technically IDs used to identify these commits. So in this case, you just want to take like the first probably 7 characters out of this, whatever hash you want to use. So in this case, I'm going to use this one because this is the commit that I don't have on the other branch and I want on the other branch. So now if I go to git checkout and go to the other branch, which I believe is new branch, it is. Okay, so in that case, now that I'm in the other branch, I run git cherry pick and the name of those first few characters of the hash. And that should bring in those changes from the other branch to this branch. Now, as you can kind of see over here, you have that newer file that's now added, and we are, once again, git status. We're still in new branch, but that newer file was now added to this new branch. So now this is great and all, because now we have those changes from the other branch on this new branch where they were supposed to be, but originally we didn't have that. But still, if we go back to our other branch, master, unfortunately that commit is still there. So if we were to run a git log, you'll see that, of course, this commit we made is still here, and we don't need it here because it wasn't intentional. This wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. So to get rid of this, you run a simple git reset. Now, git reset has 3 typical options you can run with it. There's soft, mixed, and hard. Mixed is the default option, so if you were to just run git reset like this without any options, it by default will run a -s mixed as far as the option. Now, I'll quickly go through the options. I won't show them all, so I don't have to reset them all, but I'll explain what they do. So git reset soft will basically remove that commit technically from here, but the files will still be stashed. So all you'll have to do from here is basically just run a git commit again to re-add this commit back. So that's pretty useful if you just want to get it out of being committed, but you may want to recommit them in the future. So moving on to git mixed. Git mixed will remove it once again from your commits, but it will also unstage it from kind of your git workflow. So from there, if you run git reset mixed, you would have to git add all those files back, then git commit again, and then you would have your files. You can technically recommit and get all those files back here. On the other hand, kind of the most extreme one, git reset hard will completely remove any ability to kind of track those files at all. So there's no real way to get those back once you reset them using the hard method. So you have to be kind of careful when it comes to that. Okay, so as you can see, after performing a hard reset, you could see that now we are on that previous commit. So it removed that other commit, and since we used the hard method, that got rid of the most previous commit, which initially was adding that newer file, .py. So that's how that works. Also, just a quick note here, I used head, the little squiggly and 1. That just means to revert to the commit before the head. So before this was the head, so it's commit resetting back to this. However, probably the better way to do it is just once again get those 7 numbers or 7 characters here and just git reset -- whatever option you want to use, whether that's soft, mixed, or hard. And then after that, instead of using the head title 1 here, I would just use those first few characters of the commit you want to go back to. That'll make it easier so that you can kind of, even if you want to skip multiple of these commits, you can. Just, getting whatever commit you want and having that ID there is a little bit easier than using that method. So that's kind of how you roll back a commit, and that's also how you transfer some commits from one branch to another. All right, so just also a quick note, there is if for some reason you have untracked files, so if you run git status, and in this case we don't have anything to commit, but say I went ahead and added another new file, temp file.py. So I go ahead and do that, and then I run a git status. Now you see that we don't have this tracked file because we haven't added this yet to our stash. So if I want to get rid of this, and you may have like some pesky files that end up here for some reason that you want to get rid of, running a quick git clean with the def option will basically remove any files or directories that are currently untracked that you may not want. So if you were to run that, that should get rid of those untracked files. Moving on to the last section here, just recovering a branch. So say for some reason you had an issue where you wanted to revert back to something, but say it was deleted, kind of like what we previously did. So if we were to run git ref logged, this will bring up all of the commits that have been made over the past, I believe it's 30 days. So anything past that you may have issues with. But since we've done this recently, you can see that all of our changes we've kind of done here have been displayed. So say we wanted to go back to, where do we want to go back to? Let's go back to where we cherry pick. Maybe we'll go back here. So we'll copy these, this hash. And notice that once again, it's like the first 7 characters. So if we take that hash there for that specific instance there for what we did, we should be able to check out into that hash. Now, we simply would just do another git checkout and then have that hash. Now, the problem with this is you're technically not in a branch right now, as they actually give you a little message that says you're in a detached head state, which basically means that you can kind of just mess around with things in this current state, but if you want it to be permanent instead of like a temporary thing, you'd have to check out into a new branch. So if we were to git checkout into, let's say, I don't even know what you'd call this branch, revert. So we created this new branch called revert, and we go to git branch. Now we can see we're in revert currently. And as you can see, all of our files are how they were previously when we added that cherry picked new file or newer file. So that's all fine. That's how it works there. But now this revert branch that you just checked out into should have all of the stuff from this like temporary branch that you created with this ID, which is basically the state of new branch at this instance here. So using that, you can kind of, within those, like, I believe it's 30 days before Git clears out kind of this history it has on you in this ref log. But using that history here, you can technically go back to any time in your commit history and grab kind of these instances here and create them into branches, which can be very useful if you kind of went through and did a bunch of hard resets like I kind of was here. If you were just doing a bunch of hard resets and you realized you didn't actually need to do that, or you wanted to get something out of it before you reset it, you can just simply get this ID, check out into it, and then create a branch from that detached state. So that about wraps up, though, modifying any of your Git commits. I hope you guys got something out of it, and take care.